What's up, guys? Good morning. It is Friday. We are at CMP for round one of the 2025 season. This past year, or a year ago, I debuted at this event as well, and I did really well. I got 3 out of 4 wins and like a 3rd place.
Good till.
Oh, we got a drag race.
He's going to make it, but the podium not decided. It is an absolute drag race. You called it. And McGrew into the final turn. And look at what McGrew is doing. Can the Corvette over under here and beat them both to the line with the grunt? Here he comes. Catil trying to defend Houghton, but it's now McGrew in second. Houghton trying to get after it at the line. How close do you like it, folks? Catil gets the second win. All right, there we go. Catil. That's such a shame, but he gets the win. And again, that will move him now into second all-time in Grid Life Train Cup wins. You've got to be big picture again. So I don't think McGrew is going to be too pushy here, but Catil certainly. Oh, Reigns has lost a lot of ground suddenly into that last turn. It's a drag race.
I think he's going to hold on to do it.
Woo! He is. Andrew Reigns, after struggling in all 3 races, gets the gift of the inversion. Clearly got that.
Won the overall weekend. It was a perfect weekend. And then after that, the rest of my season kind of went downhill. But we focused a lot on reliability this offseason. You know, a lot of the sensors I redid, remote mounted anything that was crucial, like oil pressure sensor. We did add ABS to the car for better improved stopping performance and also to prevent the rear tires from cording. And with the new 25 rules, we kind of adjusted power weight ratio a little bit. We added a splitter, a bit more front downforce. We dropped weight by about like 125 pounds, and we also reduced horsepower by, I think, like 5. I haven't been on the dyno yet, but my target for this event is going to be 198 wheel horsepower. So a little change there, but it should still be kind of roughly the same, you know, lightweight kind of formula. But the ABS and the splitter, it will help us a little bit, I think. And other than that, we did swap the engine. We got the spare engine in for this season, pretty much identical to the other engine, so no real change there, but I do need to, once again, get it on a dyno. But we're gonna go out for practice session 1. It's in like 30 minutes, and just shake the car down, take it easy. I got sticker tires all around, 255 fronts, 225 rears, fresh Hawk Year 1 pads all around. So shout out for them for supporting another season. I'm pretty excited. I'm a little nervous, I'm not really sure why, but I think it's all the bad luck I had last year and the year prior to that. But, you know, I spent a lot of time making sure that, you know, the car is going to finish races this year. So fingers crossed, we have no issues. I'm a little nervous with the engine because obviously I haven't really tested it yet.
Oh, what in the world?
So we're going to go out there for this first session. And like I said, just break it in slowly, get a few laps in it, kind of test that ABS system, make sure the ABS system was working fine. I did change the setup a little bit for this event. We are raising it just a little bit more, running softer springs all around, making the car a little bit more compliant, and then kind of relying a little bit more on bump stops. You know, so a soft foam bump stop on all 4 corners for Professional Awesome. So we're gonna see how the car handles, and I'm just hoping for a stress-free weekend. If I could repeat what I did last year, that would be epic. If I could do even better and win all 4 races, that would be like disbelief. But right now, my expectations are just finish all 4 races. And then from there, we can kind of continue on with the season. You know, but Todd Rosenberg, he's here with his fresh new livery, you know, sponsored by Falcon and Ibach. So he's going to be the main contender this weekend. A few other guys to kind of look out for. Nicholas Barbado, he's got the E36. You know, he's pretty quick. He's an East Coast racer from NASA, and he's raced with those a few times, and it seems like he's done a lot of work to his car. Eric Magnuson, B&W E46, the gold one. And then, yeah, just obviously a bunch of other drivers here that I think are going to be fast. Let's get suited up for practice 1, and let's hope it all goes well. season, swapping the engine, low oil pressure. This time it's definitely not a sensor because it was a brand new sensor. And I think getting the water in that engine f***ed up some bearings because it is low on oil pressure. It was dipping down to like the 30s and 40s on the straightaway. So we're putting the old engine back in. So bummer, but can't really record now. We're busy. Filling the engine up right now. We got it done in about 2 hours. We got practice session in about 40 minutes. So doing coolant and oil right now, and hopefully we should be good. So we move pretty quick. Got good help. Thanks for that, even though we realized that wasn't it. You want to go back to the other engine after this? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, we done did it once.
We're back on track. I feel like we didn't actually need to swap the engine. Kind of a long story. But let's just get at least one practice session in. Oh my gosh. I think we're good. Woo! All right, practice 2 went pretty well. Oh my gosh. So, all right, let me recap what's going on here. We got low oil pressure on the spare engine. And I thought because of all the water that got in, I thought I messed up all the bearings. So I made the decision just to pull the engine and put the engine I ran last year in. We managed to do it in about 3 hours, just in time for practice 2. Looks like I'm P1 overall in practice 2, so that's awesome. But yeah, as we're putting the spare engine back in, the spare engine's also reading low oil pressure. So I jiggled the oil pressure sensor, the coupler, and guess what? It was the coupler that was bad. So we didn't need to actually swap the engine. Everything was fine. I'm gonna wait for the dyno here. I gotta make sure I'm at 198 wheel horsepower, which I think I made a pretty good guess on the detune, so we'll see. All right, I got a few seconds to kind of catch my breath here. We're under a rain delay, lightning storm, but it looks like it's clearing up. We're supposed to have qualifying about now, but I think it's gonna be delayed about an hour. All right, so let me explain what happened. Went out in practice 1. Everything was fine. You know, I was monitoring all of the essentials on the gauge, you know, oil pressure, oil temp, yada yada. Everything looked good. Did about 3 or 4 laps, and all of a sudden I started seeing the oil pressure start to drop. And I was like, well, I swapped that sensor. It's brand new. I know it's not the sensor. Not really sure what happened. Maybe the sensor was unplugged, but we're at 91, so we're good there. So it's gotta be the engine, and it's gotta be because I had water in that damn engine. So went back to pits, checked the logs. Everything looked fine. I mean, the logs looked like it was like correct data, right? It wasn't just going from 80 to 0, but it was like fluctuating, and you know, I thought it was for sure the engine going bad. So I made the decision to pull the engine, and I had a few buddies out here to help me. Brandon, and I forgot the other guy's name, I'll put it here below. They were really nice, and they just kind of jumped in and helped me out. And we got the engine swapped in about 3 hours. But we were rushing because practice 2 was 3.5 hours after. So we literally finished the engine swap right before practice 2. Started up the second engine, and then I was getting 0 oil pressure. And I was like, okay, that's not right, because I know the engine I ran last year had good oil pressure. So then I started jiggling the connector on the oil pressure sensor, and sure enough, oil pressure popped back on. So the whole time, it was the damn connector on the oil pressure sensor, which Makes me feel like an idiot for doing all that work to swap that engine into that car and then unswap it and whatever. But anyway, everything seemed fine. Old engine obviously still is nice and strong. And we went out for FP2 and we got it #1, baby. So 42.3 or something like that. My best here was a 41.8, so we're pretty close to where I was last year. And we're a decent chunk ahead of everybody else, so that's freaking awesome. I'm pumped about that. The car is handling really good. It's a little bouncy over the curb, so I did soften the shocks a little bit. We'll see how that does. And also, I guessed on the detune, because my target's 198. So right after practice 2, I went straight to the dyno, was expecting to adjust it a little bit, and it was spot on. It was 197.8. So didn't even have to do anything there. That was awesome. Right on the power, still P1, swapped an engine in 3 hours, literally just for practice. But yeah, you know, I'm really fortunate. I got a lot of help, got a lot of supporters out there, and people that are just willing to jump in and get dirty. We got it done. Kind of a lot of work for nothing, but you know, the important thing is we got out there. Everything seems to be good. I just double checked everything right now because it was a rush, and you know, it's always an unsettling feeling when you're rushing putting something together then going straight on track. But you know, I had a lot of faith in those guys, and you know, everything was tight. There was nothing of concern, and yeah. So now I'm currently waiting to go out for quali. It's a little wet, a little cloudy. I don't know if you guys can see it, but. Yeah, we're gonna go out on the Kumos. I don't think it's wet enough to run the wet tires. And then we're gonna try to put it on pole position. Yeah, car's looking pretty mean. We got the new Grid Life iBox stickers on the car because iBox is now a title sponsor for GLTC, which is awesome because, guys, I've been repping iBox for almost a decade now. They've been one of the first supporters of me. Unfortunately, my splitter air dam is covering up their sticker, but I'll have to redo that. But yeah, we got the iBox there. We got the iBox on the windshield, iBox under the door car, and then we got another. I got another iBox up there. That was before there, but then I got another iBox right here. So shout out to iBox. They've been the homies for a long time. You know, they are supporting the enemy, Motul Rosenberg. But no, Matan's cool and iBox is cool, and I'm glad iBox stepped up to support GLTC because I think it's the pinnacle of motorsports, you know, here lately. So anyway, yeah, car looks great. It's handling good. It's fast. We got an engine swap already done for the season, so I can get that out of the way for the rest of the year, and hopefully we can put it on pole for first practice session of the year. Let's go. I'm already tired. You know how it is. I just love to do a lot of work at race events, apparently. Sun's out, but it's pretty wet. I don't know. I think it dries. I think it dries for this session. Everyone's already swapping tires to wets. Kumos for the win. Let's go. All right, this is qualifying. 1 minute. All right, gotta feel it out for our first few laps. It's gonna be wet. It's gonna be slippery. I don't even know if I can make this corner here. This is gonna be tough. ABS is good. GoPros are recording. Han's device not on. On now.
Till was one of the first drivers out there, returning again in his Hybridracing EG Honda Civic.
Unfortunately, I hope I didn't spoil something for him, but I talked to him earlier, and he was saying that his goal is just to focus on reliability. He had some issues that plagued him last season, and that didn't go well because in practice 1 he blew a motor, or so he thought. He swapped a motor in, and within 2 hours came out, and then in P2 he ran, I think, the fastest time. So he's back at it. He found it was just actually a small connector or something, but you know, they're ready to act and they're ready to get competitive.
Yeah, one of the things that plagued him all last season was mostly sensor and electronics related. So he did a lot of work to the electronic system on that car to better set himself up to diagnose problems with the car. And so the fact that he's back on track already, you know, qualifying says a lot about what he's done. So there's Eric Magnussen in the 330, Eric Catil in the 82, and then following them is the 484 of Motul Rosenberg, who's again in that Falcon and Eibach liveried car. These 3 drivers I expect to be very, very solid, but Catil and Rosenberg in particular, I think are championship favorite. now that we've had about 10 minutes under our belt here, you're seeing a lot more spreading out. And I think we're seeing drivers shuffle around on the ticker a lot more at this point, just because they've got room to lay down their best time. See offline there, a little bit of water still there, but the dry line is dry. And I think now we're seeing those times in the 42s as we anticipated.
Absolutely, yeah. Back in the 42s, that's pretty much the fastest times we've seen. I think a 42.0 is the fastest we've seen in practice, and Coutil is really reeling that back in. And then Arana back at it.
Immediately back to the top again. So Christian Arana and Coutil, bare knuckle brawl there at the top of the ticker for now.
Justin Lee was just doing a little bit of traffic management there. Oh, Coutil ended up just off track.
So that was right at 14, right behind us.
All right, he decided to get out of the way and just pull off.
Yeah, so there's Magnussen up the road. Whoa,
oh,
whoa,
wow, that was way
fast.
off. Now he just, wow.
That was a huge slide for Coutil.
And just added ABS to that car. I wonder if something wasn't acting like it.
And the tires, just the slightest touch there at the end, but that was a scary moment, I'm sure. He did everything that he should have done. Get that car sideways, bleed off the speed, and then he hit the gravel trap and did a great job slowing the momentum of that car down. But that was a scary moment. It reminds me so much of what happened to him back at Midwest Festival.
Well, that was dumb. The foot slipped off the f***ing pedal. Is the car okay?
You're full of dirt.
Yeah, I know. I f***ing flew off the track.
Do you want to shovel it off in the grass?
Yeah.
It's a lot of dirt. I don't want it on everyone.
Yeah. All right. My foot slipped off the brake pedal.
You good though?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Jesus Christ! I couldn't f***ing get back on the brake. That was scary.
Let's say, do you want me to sweep it off and you just go back? Or you do that?
How's the back look? How's the back quarter panel?
Bumpers off. Not bad.
Is it good?
It's dangling.
Is the quarter panel okay? Because I fucking hit the tire barrier.
Oh, you touched it. It's a tiny little.
Yeah. My foot slipped off the brake pedal. And I lost it in the last corner.
Okay, well, that's all okay, everything?
Yeah. How am I? What position?
3.
Huh?
3.
3?
Not that bad. I bet you could almost like reach in the trunk and push it out.
Yeah. Can I go back out? You think?
Yeah.
Can you?
I'll Okay, if we're gonna go back out, I gotta get the dirt off.
Yeah.
They're almost done.
All right.
All right, I wouldn't risk it. There's a lot of dirt in there. Go look underneath the splitter and check it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, that was an eventful qualifying. Just typical Eric Couture racing status. You know, I got to make it dramatic. Foot slipped off the brake pedal, flew off the track, 0 brakes into that last corner, and my foot was just stuck on the throttle. And I guess like I just panicked, didn't really know what to do, so I just chucked the car sideways into the gravel and collected all the dirt. And I did not expect to stop in enough time before hitting that tire bundle, but that dirt did a good job. Unfortunately, I do have a little dent right here in the quarter panel. It's hard to see, but honestly, I thought the car was gonna get totaled. It's been a pretty scary situation, but I think the car's good. Qualified P4, so overall not bad. I think that lap actually would have been P1 if I would have finished it. It's unfortunate that I didn't, but the good news is the car, it's not totaled. What an eventful weekend so far, man. Swapping the engine, flying off the track with no brakes. But that session, it was a tough session. You know, there was a lot of corners that had a lot of grip, and then there was a few corners, especially near the end of the track, that had no grip at all. And I was finally starting to put laps together, and that was gonna be like a 41.8 is what I had on the lap timer, and I just had to mess it up in the last corner. So disappointed in myself, really, and that was a scary one. You know, going into a corner with no brakes hits you pretty hard how dangerous the sport is. But anyway, we're gonna go rinse the car off right now. It's covered in dirt, and then, you know, just check alignment, make sure nothing's weird. But other than that, I mean, the car feels great. The car's fast. I think it's gonna do really well this weekend. I just gotta get my head into the game. I've just been, I don't know, I've been mentally out of it the last few days. So I just gotta refocus, regroup, and have a good race tomorrow. So anyway, let's go rinse this off. Sheesh, that is a lot of sand. And we got a lot of cleaning to do. It gets even worse on this side. Oh my gosh.
Make your own beach.
Apparently. All right, so this is basically the issue. As you can see, I have no more grip tape on the edge of this pedal, and my foot just slipped right off straight to the gas. So I went full gas into that brake zone. So we're gonna take this off. I'm gonna replace the grip tape. I think I have another of these pads. And then in the future, I wanna maybe try to replace this pedal with like a diamond cut plated pedal or something like that, with like the little hash pattern. But yeah, pretty scary stuff. Another lesson learned. Don't mess with brake pedals that have no friction on them, because your foot will slide right off of it. All right, still got a little bit of sand in here, but I blew it mostly out. Car's pretty clean. It's been a day. It's been a day. I'm used to it though. This is just a normal little wheel life for me, apparently. All right, let's get to work. Now that's a grippy pedal. Thanks, Chris Boersma, for supplying the skateboard grip tape. What do you think, Dad? Okay. Foot's not slipping off of this one. My foot might just stick to it. Senna, what do you got? Is it your birthday? Is it your birthday? Let's see. What is this? What is this? Is this for you, bud? Is this for you? Let me see that. Oh! You got something else, bud, from Missy. What is it, buddy? Ooh. Happy birthday, bud. It's your 5th birthday. Got a little treat. Yeah, hold on. Sit. Sit. Okay. Good boy, bud.